Are you ready to conquer the real estate exam? Welcome to realestateexamninja.com, where I have helped thousands of people pass the real estate exam. You're not on this journey alone. Check out the website, realestateexamninja.com. So, a broker obtains an exclusive listing. Until the broker fulfills that contract, it is best described as what? What do you guys think? I'm going to guess here. And it is wrong. That's what I love about realestateexamninja.com. When you get it wrong, it doesn't just tell you you're wrong. It shows you the correct answer so you don't miss it again. All right, a contract that is not yet completely performed is described as executionary. I think I'm pronouncing that. Excuse me. When all of its terms and conditions have been met, it is then referred to as executed. Samantha Mulder goes to a bank and borrows money for the purchase of her first home, thereby becoming a what? So if she's taking out a mortgage, is she a mortgagor or a mortgagee? It's one of these. We're going to eliminate the other two because we're getting a mortgage. That's the key word here. Okay. Let's see what the answer is. The answer is mortgagor. The borrower mortgages the property, giving the lender a claim against the real estate. As the one who does the mortgaging, she is the mortgagor. Does that make sense to you guys? Great. Phenomenal. Okay, so this is a math question. If you guys watch the videos, you know that we pause here, we get a pen and paper, and we do the math. I'm not able to do the math with the current setup. That said, a small multifamily property generates $50,000 in rental income, $10,000 in expenses, $25,000 in debt service. The property appreciates about $25,000 each year. What is the cash flow on this property? So let's look at the math here, okay? So we've got 50 grand in rental income. We've got 10,000 in expenses. What's the cash flow? The cash flow is 15,000, and here's how we get it. Okay, the property brings in 50, as we said. It costs $35,000 in property expenses and mortgage payments. That leaves only $15,000 in positive cash flow. Appreciation on the property that is not yet sold does not create cash flow and is not considered in this computation. Commercial banks prefer to make short-term loans like construction loans and 90-day business loans. The reason for this preference is what? Why do you guys think commercial banks have this preference? All right, I'm going to guess here. Since a bank's funds are by definition short term, that is from checking accounts, also known as demand deposits. The banks prefer to make short term loans. Okay? I know these are some harder ones. Okay? If you guys watch some of the other videos, they're a lot easier. This is kind of a level up. The right that a property company acquires in order to lay a service line across a customer's property is called a what? So, anytime, this is something important. So, anytime that someone is accessing someone else's property, that's going to be some form of an easement. Okay, if they have a right to access that. So just by process of elimination, we can get to this answer. So even if you're like easement and gross, like I don't know what that is, you guys got to look at the answers, look at the question, and and use some critical thinking. You don't have to know all of this to pass the real estate exam. You really just need to be, your critical thinking skills need to be at a high level. Okay, if a jurisdiction requires private property for public use, the first step begins with obtaining a writ of attachment, beginning condemnation proceedings, negotiations, or seeking an injunction. Okay, if a jurisdiction requires private property for public use, so that means the government is taking someone's private property. Okay, so the first step in that is, I'm going to say, first we're trying to negotiate, right? We don't want to get lawyers and judges involved. We just want to negotiate. So, again, this is one where you cannot be 100% sure, but you can just think. A lot of people fail the real estate exam, and the questions that they tell me that they did get right, I'm like, you guys, you didn't think about it. You don't have to know it. You just got to think about it. Failure to act timely to have a court enforce deed restrictions may result in the violations being allowed because of the legal concept called, latches, non-conforming use, constructive notice, injunction. Failure to act timely to have a court enforce deed restrictions may result in violations being allowed because of the legal concept called, this is a tough one. This is very specific. I'm going to let you guys have a second to think about it. All right. Well, I'm going to pick a random one. What do you guys want me to pick? Latches or injunction? Latches is a legal tenet to set the statute of limitations on court-ordered removal of a deed restriction violation. Next, a real estate investment does not guarantee profit, but involves little risk. We all know that's not true. Does not guarantee a profit and involves a high degree of risk. It's kind of true. Usually guarantees a profit, but involves a high degree of risk. Ooh, this is tough. I mean, you could make the argument for any of these. I'm surprised. So, if you guys don't know, these questions come from prior real estate exams. So, you guys are, even though this is a tough one and we don't really know where to go from here, because yes, there is risk in a real estate investment. I wouldn't say a high degree of risk, maybe, looking at that. So I would say it does not guarantee a profit, but involves a little risk. So that's probably just the best answer. I could easily make the argument for all of these, but let's see. So does not guarantee a profit, which is true, involves a high degree of risk. I guess that depends on your risk tolerance. If you're buying, if you're worth $5 million and you're buying a $100,000 house, what's the risk really? But regardless, that's the answer that was on the exam, so I'm passing it along to you. Okay, using real property as collateral to secure a loan while retaining the property is called what? So if I use my house to get a loan, so I'm getting a loan for some money and I'm using my house as collateral, what is that called? So when a borrower uses property to secure a loan while retaining the property's use and benefit, it is known as hypothecation. Oof, that's a word salad, isn't it? Okay. I'm hoping this video is helping you guys. If it is, be sure to drop me a like and a comment, subscribe. You know, I'm going to try to do more of these because everyone tells me they're helpful. But, you know, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Okay, while the objective in this cost approach generally is to estimate the value of both land and improvements, the land typically is appraised during what? Using what? Not any more coffee. So land is typically appraised, sales comparison approach, income approach, gross. All right, so the market data approach is the sales comparison approach. Okay, so that's typically how land is valued. Okay. The remaining okay, so we have another math question. What do we do on math questions? Pause. The remaining balance on Sherry's mortgage is $185,500. The interest rate is 8.5%, and the monthly payment is $1,426.50. How much of her next monthly payment will be applied to principal? This is a tough one. Wow. So let's try to do this. You know, I don't think we can. I'm trying to see if we can back into this question without doing the math. Sometimes we can do that. Okay. So we know it's not the last one. I guess that would be D, right? So we can eliminate that one. And that's because that's her monthly payment. It's not all going to be interest. It's not all going to be principal. So we can eliminate that one, okay? That leaves us 3. Now, again, I'm not doing the math. I'm just using critical thinking, trying to back into the answer. I do not know the answer, by the way. I'm working through this with you. So the interest rate is 8.5%, and the monthly payment is $1,426. How much of her monthly payment? Okay. So I'm going to say, so I don't think it's this one either. Just because it's so high. And if the interest rate is 8.5%, most of the amortized loans, the principal is less, you know, at the beginning until you start paying it off. So I'm going to go with this one or this one, and I don't know. Okay, I do not know. I'm going to guess this, but we're using process of elimination to try to get this without knowing the answer. I'm going to guess this one, and that is correct. Complete luck, using critical thinking, we can find the answer without knowing the answer. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Both buyer and seller must consent to the agent's role in the transaction so they know who is responsible for the commission, whether they need a lawyer, whom to ask about hidden defects, whether their disclosures will be held in confidence. Okay. What do you guys think? Again, I know these are not easy ones like some of the last videos. Trying to challenge you guys a little bit. All right. The question of confidential information is the main reason for all new state laws on agency disclosure. Okay. The vendee has an obligation to sell the property, no obligation to the seller, equitable title, temporary title. This is tough. Man, I'm really challenging you guys. I'm gonna say this, if you're getting most of these correct, you're probably ready. you're really, these are tough. If you're not, then you guys need to keep practicing with realestateexamninja.com. All right, so I'm gonna guess here. This is a real tough one because you have to just know what vendee is, right? Do you guys know? Equitable title is an interest in acquiring legal title. Legal title will not be obtained until the buyer has actually purchased the property. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. Be sure to tune in for another video. Ciao.